Balzer now joins us here on the Right to the Guest line. So, how much time did you get out there this week there, Howard? Did you get some time to check out the future of this organization?
Yeah, well, we were able to watch the entire practice on Monday, which was a good. And so, obviously, everyone overreacts to OTAs, and everyone's saying, "Oh my goodness, David Collins is an outside linebacker. Oh, look at the offensive line." It's one practice, and then of course we're not out there any other days. We're only allowed to be there one day a week, so it doesn't give you a total picture, but at least it gives you a pretty good idea. And so it was fun to get out there and see everybody run around for about an hour and a half on Monday.
We're seeing, you talked about it last week, it's the dog days of summer. All the pundits are putting out these stories because they're looking for content, and I saw one today that has a mock trade with Philadelphia where Budda Baker would go to Philly in exchange for a 2024 fifth-round pick and a 2025 third-round pick because, of course, Budda's not happy and he wants to get paid. Could you see, first of all, Budda getting traded? And I think the history between the Philadelphia and Arizona, they need to take a little bit of break after what happened before the draft.
Yeah, but, if you find a trade partner, I don't know that would mitigate against that. But I don't know. It's always funny that they call these mock trades just like mock drafts because the one thing consistent about them all usually is that they're mockeries. I mean, they're not realistic. They're crazy. And I'm not saying that Budda Baker couldn't be traded, but trade him for fifth and a third-round pick? Yeah. I mean, that's insane. That's absolutely ridiculous. And, it's not like the Cardinals aren't willing to pay him. It's just that they don't want to extend him at least up until this point, which I don't understand that. I mean, he's making a lot of money anyway. And this whole notion, and I've heard this in places where it's been reported nationally, that Monty Ossenfort doesn't want to set a precedent for giving a guy in his first year, give a guy a contract that has 2 years remaining. Well, what precedent does it set? I mean, who else on this team would have any inclination or any leg to stand on to come in and say, let's negotiate my contract for 2 years, or extend it. So to me, that's what the Cardinals should do. But whether they do it or not, obviously, is another question.
All right, let's talk about the other white elephant in the room, that being Deandre Hopkins taking a huge shot at the Cardinals organization, and then not to bemoan the fact that he says Kyler Murray's a hardworking quarterback, but I thought he set himself up pretty good with his, I'll call it non-illegal tampering by shouting out where he'd like to go. What is the team, not so much organization, but the guys in that locker room, if you had a chance to talk, think about some of that chatter come from D-Hop, pretty much sounding the alarm where he'd like to go.
Well, I mean, he's been doing that for about a month.
Yeah.
And, with all the, it's obvious the Cardinals have been talking to teams about trading him. So if that's the case, why shouldn't the player, be able to state his opinion? And, it was interesting because he kind of contradicted himself at different points. Because on one level, he's saying, well, what I want in when he's asked what do you want in my career, is I want a stable organization. Then he turned around and said that he's been impressed with Monty Ossenfort. And so you just wonder, which is it? What's really going on here? And so, but, he's sitting there wondering where he's going to be playing football. And there doesn't seem to be any real resolution to this, obviously, yet. And so he's just voicing his opinion. So I don't have any problem with that. But he did contradict himself, a couple times during that podcast.
Any reaction from, if you had a chance to talk to any players, reference that might have been after you guys are Monday, the podcast, but any reaction from the players, at least you can know, not only from D-Hop not being there, but also from Budda not being there?
No, we only get to talk to a couple of players.
Yeah.
And, the Cardinals control that, and they decide what players that, they're going to make available to us. And so it was, Monday it was Zach Pascal and Cam Thomas along with Keitrell Carter. And so, I think most guys, though, we know what they would say if we asked them. They would say, well, that's their business. That's the situation, what it is. And quite frankly, guys, the guys we're talking to and the people that are being made available, it's a very young team, right now. It's not like there's a lot of guys that have played with Budda Baker very long that are on this team. In fact, I wrote about that today on the website. They've had 8 guys since they were on the roster last season that are 30 years old or older depart the organization. Currently, they only have 7 guys on the roster that are 30 years old or more, and 2 of them are quarterbacks, and 1 is kicker Matt Prater. And so, in terms of veteran-type guys that would have most of these guys on this team are just young guys fighting and trying to win a job.
3 minutes.
I think for the most part, that's the way that, they probably look at it. And I think the Budda situation, I think, could be instructive because what you want to do as a general manager is you want to send a message to players that you play as well as Budda Baker has and be the type of player you want on a roster. We will take care of you when it comes time to do that. And so, we'll see where it goes from here.
Howard Balzer is our guest on the Right Toyota guest line. Rockin' Minuch with Jimmy B, Fox Sports 910. Howard, when you were there, did you get a chance to take a look at the QBs? And if so, was Colt McCoy looking healthy or is he still limited? And also, did you get a chance to see Clayton Tune at all?
Yeah, the quarterbacks were all there and working out. And Kyler Murray was there on the sideline watching and, paying attention to what was going on. But, yeah, Colt McCoy, who did not throw
2 minutes
during the mini camp in April, was throwing and, looked pretty good. Clayton Tune, throws a nice football. And so, they had the 4 guys out there that were, taking part in the practice. And, obviously it's mostly drills and it's a very, there's tempo to the practice. And even though in part of it, you're going against defensive players, it's obviously not real football, but, they threw the ball pretty well. And I think that, but the good thing was Colt was healthy and he's obviously going to be a guy that you would think would start to see, depending on when he's available.
Aside from that piece today, what are you looking on for the weekend?
Well, I'm working on it. Right?
Okay.
There'll be some OTAs, there'll be an OTA next week, which we'll be out there for, but there's what I have up there today until after the holiday.
So you have a great Labor Day. Have a great. I wish it was Labor Day. Then we talking NFL.
Yeah,
but as always, Howard, appreciate your time.
All right, guys, take care.
Hey, Howard Balzer from Go PHNX. He just does a credible job. He's been, as you heard in the open, has been covering the National Football League as long as I've been alive. That's just a tremendous job. Twitter at hbalzer721. Speaking of the NFL, Antonio Brown appears coming out of retirement.
What?
He's going to suit up and wear next as we continue with Twin Peaks. Scott.